director. Shout out to you. On the phone, in the building, finally, the legend herself, Miss Jewell. What's up, baby?
Hey, I just got one thing to say to my Slim Show listeners. It's the Slim Show. Ooh. Uncensored radio. Yeah, yeah. I'm on the Slim Show. Jewell. Think the hip hop radio. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Hey now.
That's what's up. What's happening, lady?
You got it.
Nah, I don't have no money to pay you for that. Do I owe you anything for that? Cause I can't afford that. That was for free, right?
We'll talk about that one later. That one might be on the house.
I mean, you was signed to Death Row, so I know you gangster, and I want to make sure you got this shit straight before we go too deep. What's going on? What part of the country you in, Jewell?
What part of what?
What part of the country are you in?
I'm down
Where you
south. I'm in Texas.
In Texas. All right, that's what's happening. How you doing out there? What's going on with you? What's new in your life?
I'm loving it. It's kind of laid back. I go from here to Detroit, in case anybody don't know what the D is. So I'm going back and forth right now because we have some offices out there as well. Best Hand Entertainment is in effect, baby.
All right. Now that's your new label, right?
That's the new label, yes.
Okay, good deal. We want to talk a little bit about you, man. We got you for a while. You told me that you're going to rock with us for pretty much throughout the show. So we got a lot of information, or actually a lot of questions for you. I know you got a lot of information going on your side. You got a book coming out, Blood, Sweat, and Tears, which is a big deal. And also you got an album coming out. We're going to talk a little bit about that. But we want to kind of cover, at least I want to kind of cover your Death Row years. Now, you go way back to EZ. Now, were you ever signed to Ruthless Records?
No, I was never signed to Ruthless Records, although I did do some work with them. I was the first artist and female artist on Death Row. So Ruthless was just an affiliated label that I worked with.
Now, when you went from Ruthless on affiliation status and went and rocked with Death Row, where were you at in the midst of all that controversy? Everybody knows the history of Ruthless and Eazy and Death Row and how that shit went down. I mean, where were you at in the middle of that?
Well, like back in the days, it's like this, that if you had somebody that was down on your team as far as West Coast was concerned, and, they went on the other side, and it became your beef as well. That's why when we did the Niggas for Life album, and I kind of did that little skit, against Ice Cube, it's just that, if they were mad at somebody, you had to be mad at somebody if you were still down with them. So, that's the West Coast.
Like vocally take shots at anybody on there? You know what I mean? Like with a harmony or some shit like that?
Excuse me, I didn't hear you.
Did you vocally, I'm joking with you actually, but I was asking, did you just harmonize any type of diss records at any point in time in your career?
Well, I did I'd Rather Fuck You, if I can say that on the radio. That's the name of a song.
On this show you can. Yeah.
Oh, well, I'd rather fuck you. I'd rather fuck you. I know, I'm just kidding. I did that song on there, and then we did some skits, me and the DOC. So, I said, how much money you talking on my black ass to keep on walking? That was a skit I did. And I said, since Ice Cube is sucking so much in New York, my son is looking at me in my face. Come on there, boy. What you up in here for? Anyway.
Shout out.
I did
shout out to little man.
Couple of little,
We shout out to son. Go ahead.
I did a couple of little skits on there. So that was a pretty big record for me as far as starting out my notoriety. And then, of course, Death Row is where I got my biggest start. And from Dre Day to the Gin and Juices to, What Would You Do? Tupac's All Eyes on Me. So I was kind of, it was a big record on the Chronic album, Bitches Ain't Shit.
Exactly.
So I guess,
classic.
I was,
I said classic.
Yeah, it's a classic, kind of started a little friction between me and Moms, but, it was a good record.
Well, tell us though. Now that you mentioned that, tell us how you got started as far as in your singing career itself. Like, what led you to Death Row, in opposed to a label which is strictly tailored towards R&B talent?
Well, all good girls like bad guys. It just was kind of like a trip that I would go from the church to singing with gangster rappers. So that didn't set too well with my background and where I came from. But it was a recipe that worked because, gangster rap was sort of underground. It really was underground on the West Coast. So when you put that little Chicago twang to it, it started being able to be played on the radio, because where they couldn't play the cuss words, they would play my melodic harmonies on the radio, right. And just kind of like let my voice ride with the track. So the West Coast really started to get some notoriety as far as being able to be played on the radio.
Well, you definitely created your own lane, man. We're going to play one of your hits, man. This one you was featured on with Snoop, Gin and Juice, Snoop Dogg. Where does this take you back to, man, real quick, before we play it?
Gin and Juice takes me back to Gin and Juice. We was on
Gin
a
and Juice,
lot of...
Snoop Dogg featuring Jewell.
Yes.
Study long. With so much drama in the LBC, it's kinda hard being Snoop D-O double G, but I somehow, some way keep coming up with funky ass shit like every single day. Rolling down the street, smoking mango, sipping on gin and juice, biatch. With my mind on my money and my money on my mom.
Slim Show live here in Atlanta, broadcasting. We got the legendary, the one, the only, the beautiful, the talented Jewell on the line, former First Lady of Death Row Records. Jewell, I want to ask you real quick, Mom. You was talking about how you linked up with the gangsters, and that was pretty much the genesis of your career. Tell me, though, in your opinion, from your experience, and this is probably a little bit in your book, though, but tell me, in your opinion, what was the problem with Death Row, man? What caused the fall of Death Row Records?
Well, the fall was caused by Mr. Knight and just the way he did business and the way he treated the art. We started out, everything was about each other, and then there became a division when you bring the streets into music. Things kind of got divided because, of course, we had a label where everyone was just as equally as talented as the next person, but we were all from different backgrounds. So you had a label where Bloods and Crips and, they were all the same thing. In the beginning, we were all able to work together, and then it started becoming a lot of division and, Suge and Floyd, a lot of the homies from the hood that were Bloods, and, Snoop and them crew was representing 213, and to start friction in our home front where we music. And then on the flip side of that, he wasn't, doing business fairly. We would write songs and turn in the split sheets and the producer sheets and the credits. And by the time the CD was pressed and released, you look at the back, and sometimes you got your proper credit, and sometimes it was someone else that was down there who wasn't even nowhere near the studio when the record was created, let alone did any part of the writers or the production of the record. So that's what really broke up the recipe, the family.
Hey, Jules, this is Mocha. What made you decide to write a tell-all book after so many years?
Well, I did what was called a self-cleansing for myself. And I must say, it was encouraged by my brother, Russ. He's the CEO of that hand, and I'm the vice president. But it was encouraged by him for me to go ahead and let some of these things out. to sort of release myself and be able to move forward. Because a lot of times when you're holding things in and, you know, you're kind of reiterating on the past, you can never move forward in the future. And one thing about it is when you have talent and people have used that talent and misused you, the good thing about it is you have talent, so you can always start over. So he talked to me about it. I thought it was a good idea. Unfortunately, sometimes the truth hurts. So when I told on myself, I had to tell on other people because they were around. If you were a part of my life at any time during, you know, my death row days and prior to, more than likely you made the book. So it'll be some people that says, you know, she's just doing this for attention or, you know, but I really did this book to help people. And I think it's going to help more people than hurt people.
Okay.
Hey, Jewell, this is Champ speaking. Michael, I'm going to get straight to the case. I know you mentioned something questionable sexual preferences. Could you expound on that a little bit?
Whom am I speaking with?
Champ.
Champ?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Champ. Yeah, you get the ring with boxing gloves on. I'm going to just to basically tell you that it's really not important Dre's sexuality because he's a very brilliant, but I do describe in the book some incidents that happened, and I'll let people be the judge of what they feel the side of the coin that he's on.
Okay, so basically you're saying you got to read the book to find out to get the answers.
And you got to get My Blood, My Sweat, My Tears. It's available 25th of 2011 on besthandent.com, or you can put in jewellcaples.com and it will take you right to the link where you can purchase the ebook and get the music. I mean, the soundtrack, with the self-titled, the same thing, My Blood, My Sweat, My Tears, introduced a lot of undiscovered talent from Detroit. Bobby Seals is the next megastar out of Detroit. He's one of the artists that signed to the label. Costco, Randy, my niece, her name is The Poet. She goes by Natasha Claire, but she goes by The Poet. She did a lyrical masterpiece, a poetic piece to introduce the soundtrack. So it's some different, and it kind of reminds you of the Sonic album where you can put it in from the way down until the end of the soundtrack. There is solo songs from myself on this CD, as well as some collaborations with me and the artist that's going to be coming from the label. So it's some good music on there, and it kind of musically it reflects what the book is written about. So it's kind of a supportive. I can't have one without the other. So if you get the book, I'm telling you, you would want to get the soundtrack.
So it's just basically a 1-2 punch then.
Yeah.
Hey, Jewel, this is Mocha again. Did you
Mocha.
Hey, yes. Did you consider when you wrote the book that the backlash that you might receive from the other artists in the industry?
You know, you're gonna always have people talk, some positive, some negative. I mean, I knew what was gonna happen, and like I said, I'm not afraid of anything. And I know that this particular book is going to, like I said, help more people than hurt people. Unfortunately, I can't help that the truth hurts. So I didn't do it to be vindictive. I didn't do it to get back at anyone. I'm telling a lot of things in this book about myself as well. My bad choices, you know, when I took ecstasy, when I smoked weed, you know, the things that I did when I was intoxicated. Had I been sober, I wouldn't have made those same choices. So I'm just not going to tell on somebody else.
My story too, ironically.
You have to, you know, tell on yourself as well. So